gee, a whole bunch of crazy stuff is happening all over the world. Who would have thought? That's why we're going to break it all down on this independent media organization that is not slimy, disgusting, pathetic little weasels like the rest of the mainstream media are, who sell their souls to the devil. Most likely, figuratively speaking, but honestly, like, and we can do that because we're sponsored by you. wearechange.org/donate, which you will hopefully go to, and with just $1 a month allows us to still be here to do videos for you every single day, and we're doing that because of your support. So sincerely, thank you very much. Now, just jumping right into the news, things definitely seemed a little bit far worse than they were yesterday, especially when it comes to the coronavirus, as we're getting information that more people are infected than previously known, up to the numbers of 350,000 people, as right now 14 cities are quarantined. McDonald's even shut down operations in many Chinese cities, and the city is racing to deal with, of course, this new virus that could have came from bats or snakes from a Chinese market, or could have came from, the biological weapons facility also located in that city. Just something to think about here. But one thing is sure, the Chinese are finally taking this very seriously. They are erecting a new hospital that they plan to destroy afterwards, since previously, of course, they were arresting people who, of course, were speaking out against this new virus in their cities. Yes, the Chinese authorities, literally in the beginning of this outbreak, spent their time arresting people for talking about it online. Yes, that's... And again, I made a full video about this entire coronavirus situation yesterday, where I tried to jam-pack as much information. But I think one thing we need to understand here is that the Chinese government routinely lies. In the way that the Chinese authorities operate in China, it is filled with dysfunction and passing on the responsibility to someone else. And this is why we should be a little bit more concerned here about what is happening, as well as the fact that some Chinese people are bragging on social media about how they are cheating airport scans and screenings of the coronavirus, and then posting pictures of themselves at this Michelin 5-star restaurant in France, just like this Chinese lady did. There's also a ton of videos showing people collapsing all over the city of Wuhan, which is definitely not reassuring. Add that to the fact that the CDC is about to confirm 3 of the cases here in the United States, where I would say, in my opinion, people's health is definitely not at its best, to say the least, with an opioid and obesity and San Francisco. We have San Francisco here. And personally, when it comes to pandemics and understanding a little bit of history behind it, I always lean on the side of taking it seriously, and most importantly, just doing small things to prevent the spread of disease, which I think we all should know about. But there, of course, is a whole complete other side to this, with other people saying that this is just hype, that this is just fear-mongering by the media, which, of course, definitely over-sensationalized and overhyped previous health scares. And people are also pointing out the fact that Big Pharma is definitely set to gain financially from a lot of these latest health scares and viruses. And Big Pharma, let's be honest here, they don't have the best track record with doing the right thing, since many times Big Pharma industries were caught prioritizing profit over human life. It's a fact that you can't ignore. So on one side, people are raising the alarm bells. Other people say that this is fear-mongering, nothing worried about. And my essential kind of understanding of it is, most likely the truth is, of course, somewhere in the middle. But of course, it doesn't hurt to take precautions, especially when you sneeze and cough, to cover your mouth hole with your elbow, to not show up to school or work if you are sick, to try to take care of your health, to take some supplements, and most importantly, don't stress out, since stress is a major component to your health. And this is why I personally believe emotional health is at an all-time low in the United States. And a lot of the sensationalizing, hyperbolic, fear-mongering definitely should be called out, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be taking this situation seriously, especially with the history of pandemics and human civilization. So again, don't stress out, don't freak out, don't go into a panic. Again, you're just irrational when you do anyway, and you make mistakes when you do anyway, but, you know, take care of your health, dummy. I think that's the overall message that I think surprisingly a lot of people need to hear. Now, moving forward in another story, a message that people don't need to hear is the utter outcry that's happening surrounding Joe Rogan that is trending in the United States. And you might ask yourself, why is Joe Rogan trending all over the United States? And there is, oh wow, surprisingly, outrage. Did you guys know? Guys, there's people outraged on the internet. Who would have thought? And the reason people are outraged is because during a Joe Rogan podcast, and by the way, I actually watched this particular clip. Joe Rogan was questioned who he would be voting for in the next presidential election, and he kind of took his time and said, you know, I think maybe Bernie Sanders. Not a definite endorsement, which Bernie Sanders is taking, but after specifically saying maybe, it was still something obviously that he was processing, but still Bernie took this unofficial endorsement that really wasn't an endorsement, and now Joe Rogan is being smeared as a white nationalist transphobe after Bernie Sanders, of course, accepted this very popular internet figure and his support of him and is running with it, obviously. And now, obviously, some people are, quote, I feel like a boomer even just saying this, triggered, as even the Washington Times is attacking Joe Rogan right now for saying that he most likely will support Bernie Sanders. And again, people should be able to support whoever they want, and this kind of reaction only will hurt more honest political discussion in the near future. But it is important to point out that it is mainly establishment left-wing figures that are, quote, triggered and angry and sending very disparaging messages to Joe Rogan that are attacking him as much as they can. And I think this is really a major significant turning point, as even Forbes had to point out that, you know, Twitter doesn't really understand Joe Rogan and his podcast and his popularity, and essentially what drives him is this kind of nonchalant, free-thinking, exploring, open-minded individual that people like to be taken on those adventures as he's going through the process of exploration of knowledge and information. And we're really, you know, just going through someone processing something and explaining his mental proceedings is something that Joe Rogan articulates very well, and it's something that I like to enjoy watching, and I think this is why he is as popular as he is, because of this kind of stream of consciousness that he could put into words and explain to you, and it makes people feel like they're going through something with him. He makes it very personal, and at the same time very introspective, which I think is one of the main reasons why people are fans of him. But again, this is just my own personal interpretation of what is happening here. But I think it's very telling to see articles like this. Bernie Sanders touts endorsement from Joe Rogan, who thinks trans women are men. And again, who said you have to agree with someone 100% to be able to say that maybe you will vote for them or not? And again, I definitely disagree with Joe Rogan, and 100% definitely agree with Bernie Sanders, but it's pretty clear that Bernie Sanders is under attack, especially from the establishment. And again, what the establishment doesn't really understand here is that, you know, with these kind of blue mob check mark wannabe wanksters, that they're kind of you know, programmed globalist corporatist support of the establishment. Their attacks backfire on them and essentially don't work and actually have the opposite effect. And again, I think this is a very telling sign of the establishment getting a kick in the butt. And of course, many people are saying, what about Hillary Clinton going on the Howard Stern show, where, of course, the establishment really wasn't critical of Fart Man. Was it Fart Man or Butt Man? I forgot which one. Let me know in the comment section which one it was. But people weren't really that critical of Hillary Clinton for being with Butt Man. And again, just to clarify, people should definitely not take themselves this seriously, because they're just running around in circles being utter idiots. In other news of what the establishment really doesn't want you to know about, and something that we are seeing no major mainstream media coverage on the boob tube, and that is, of course, this massive rally, which some people estimate close to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the streets right now in Iraq, mainly to get the United States out of that country. This is a massive rally by the Iraqi people demanding an end to the U.S. occupation of their territory. At this protest, they also hanged effigies of Donald Trump and denounced U.S. actions there as U.S. terrorism. This, of course, after the latest assassination of a mainline Iranian military political figure, and after, of course, the United States bombed and attacked Iranian Iraqi forces that were fighting ISIS in the region. So you would think, spreading depleted uranium, before that having sanctions that killed hundreds of thousands of children, you think bombing them to smithereens, getting rid of their leader, creating a vacuum of power, creating an essential hotbed of radical jihadism that was spurred directly by U.S. military actions, which prevented certain religions and sects, which bonded them. I could keep going. You would think, yeah, I think the idea of saying we don't want the United States in our country, since it could be also a place where the next war starts, is something that is a popular idea, and something that, of course, is not being reported on the mainstream media, which is something that we are reporting now. Other very unpopular actions that also happened in the Middle East, not far away from Iraq, of course, happened recently in Syria, where U.S. military personnel were directly in the opposite direction of Russian military personnel. This, of course, after the United States was blocking the road, preventing them to pass near the oil fields that the United States is occupying. Yes, the United States is essentially very illegally occupying Syria's oil fields and denying them their oil. So, yeah, that doesn't seem like liberation. That seems like stealing, which it essentially is. This, of course, after the latest news just 3 days ago of U.S. airstrikes that killed 15 civilians in Western Afghanistan, which spurred this video come out. Again, very little mention of this in the mainstream media. This is why we're talking about it right now, of Afghani villagers throwing rocks at U.S. patrols after, of course, the people in their community, their family members were killed, according to the United States, accidentally. So, I mean, just watching some of this footage, when not even just watching this footage, but just understanding a little bit of American foreign policy, which we cover here, it is completely backwards. It is completely asinine. It is not towards the benefit of the American people. It is shooting itself in the foot. It is causing massive havoc and pain and chaos that very few individuals profit off of, while everyone else is suffering from it. Some more than others. It is stupid. It is perpetrated by Donald Trump, by Obama, by Bush, by Clinton, and all the other presidents before him that have been escalating perpetual war, and it is idiotic and stupid. And I am sorry, but until major actions are made stopping it, all presidents who are continuing it deserve criticism. That's my point of view. You're going to tell me I'm wrong. I don't care. It's okay. You know what? Don't tell me I'm wrong. Prove to me I'm wrong. Show me something definitive that actually will open my mind towards a different train of thinking, which I'm completely open to. I read the comments, especially when the video first comes out. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, click the notification button. And thank you once again for sharing this video, because since we talked about coronavirus, that's automatically demonetized, automatically downranked in the algorithm. God forbid you hear independent voices, not from the pharma media industrial complex, about the coronavirus because we talked about American foreign policy. Oh, that definitely is going to get cut. Some dweeb at YouTube. Sorry, man. This is not cool, man. It's not freaking cool that you in San Francisco, I'm sorry you're there, working at YouTube. I can see why you're kind of not the happiest person, but gosh darn it, why? Why are you watching my videos and being like, cut this dude off? Again, it's the people who do support us, the people who do watch us. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more.